It's time to rock and roll!
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Waffle Press Movie Hangouts. I'm your host, Diego Crespo. This is episode 151. I'm going to start saying the numbers of the episodes now because I feel like after 150, you just got to start doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's my co-host, Universa, who's been with me for like 148 of
150.
them.
Yeah. 151 of them
Yeah,
or so.
151 in spirit,
Or so.
148
Yeah.
in these little hangouts. I mean, me too. Neither of us have been here for every episode. We switched off on
Hmm.
occasion. But today is a very special episode because we're here with the great Eric Lawrence. I'm sorry, I should have asked before I said
That's the
Eric
correct
Lawrence,
way to
right?
say it. People, yeah, it caught me off guard. I was expecting Lorinc, but Lawrence is
Hmm.
correct. Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Good work.
Welcome to the show. Filmmaker, editor extraordinaire, writer, director, Twitter poster, a big face in the horror community on film Twitter, frankly.
That can't be true.
I
That's a
think it
silly
is.
thing. I don't think I have enough followers for that.
I don't
Is
know.
it
I
true?
feel like every once in a while I'm like, yep, there's
Yeah,
Eric's post about a movie they love, like just
very
going crazy,
personal.
you know?
Every once
It's
in a while that happens.
Gotta
yeah,
just embrace it.
Oh my
yeah.
goodness, I can't do that.
Don't undersell yourself. Don't sell yourself
No.
short. But how are you? What's going on?
I'm great. I woke up an hour ago. That was good. And I'm vibing. I'm happy. I went to the New Beverly last night, and that was great. It's great. Great time.
Okay, what did they play last night? It was like Ginger Snaps 2 or something,
Yes,
right?
it was. Yes,
Yeah,
it
I
was a direct-to-video movie that I never thought I'd see in a theater and was very happy to because it was very good. And people are sleeping on Ginger Snaps too. It's very good.
all right. Gene, have you seen the first Ginger Snaps?
No, I don't think I have. Yeah.
Okay, I
So I'll
like
Also
have to
that
very
see
movie a
good.
one
lot.
and two.
Yeah.
Also very good. And the third one is crazy too, but it's like it's different.
Okay, is it like The Howling where they just get like more and more like
No, the third
unhinged?
one is a remake of the first one, but in the
Hmm.
1800s with the main girls still. Like they play their 1800s counterparts. It's very bizarre.
Hmm.
It's
Oh,
just a
okay.
little boring, is its
Oh,
issue.
I see.
Um,
okay. I was like, oh, it's like a Tremors 4 type thing where it's
oh,
like this
I
is
see. I love Tremors 4.
I do too.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, Ginger Snaps 3 is not as good as Tremors 4, unfortunately.
That's a shame, but I'll check out Ginger Snaps too then,
It's very good.
eventually.
It's very
But
sad. But it's
Eric,
good.
tell us about yourself. How did you get to this point where you're like, you live and breathe cinema, horror cinema especially, but I think you're
Yes.
a fan of all cinema. Is that fair to say?
That's fair to say. That's fair. There's definitely an emphasis on horror, but I try to be well-rounded, and I like all sorts of movies. I like all sorts. I love musicals. I love everything. As long as it's good, and usually if it's older, I'm I'm getting pickier in my older age. But I've just loved horror movies since I was like two. Like my parents never cared about they weren't often like, you can't watch this, you can't watch that. There were some random ones, like I watched Saw, and then they said, you can't watch Saw 2, it's too scary. And then they're random, it didn't make sense. But I've loved them forever. I've just always loved scary, spooky, graveyard aesthetics. And then in high school, I was like, I wanted as fucked up and disturbing as possible. And then I grew out of that, but I still have an appreciation for it. And I've just loved it forever. It's like in me.
All right, so like just out of the womb, you were like, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I
do
think
this.
there was probably like there was so much horror media for kids in the late 90s, early 2000s, and that probably like helped. Like Courage the Cowardly Dog and Goosebumps and Big Wolf on
Hmm.
Campus were kind of like nonstop. And so it was just always, always in it.
Yeah, no, I come to horror late. I brought this up on the show before, but since I've never told you this before, I came to horror later, like in my late teens, early 20s more so, because I was a scaredy cat,
Yeah.
but my family was initially more conservative. It's been very interesting to see them pivot away from it over time.
That's fun.
Yeah, no, really,
Yeah,
it's
wow.
been very heartwarming. But
Doesn't always happen. That's great.
yeah, yeah, I know. Yeah,
Lovely.
yeah, we don't have to spiral down that road right now. But yes, you're correct. But yeah, so like it was like I didn't watch Scream. I didn't watch like I knew of like the Chucky
Hmm.
movies. I saw like the Universal monster stuff, like the classics, because they were like, yeah, that's safe for him to watch. And even that, I was like, you know. But yeah, so I come much later into my appreciation for the genre, and now I'm just like, yeah, this Evil Dead 2 greatest movie ever made type thing, you know,
It
like
Yeah.
really is up there, isn't it?
yeah,
It
It's
is.
so
It is.
good. It's like crazy how good that movie is. And it's
yeah,
just like cinema in its purest, like every effect, very rarely shot, reverse shot. It's all Evil Dead 2 is perfect.
yeah. No, I
Hmm.
mean to the point where like now I'm actively trying to make my own things on like $0, as we all are
Yes.
nowadays.
Oh my
And
goodness,
it's
dude.
definitely me just trying to be like, all right, what Evil Dead 2 did. Not so much plot, but just like what you're saying, like the
Yeah.
pure,
And even so, Evil
unrestrained
Dead 2 still
cinema.
had like $2 million or something, like they had some money. But
Yeah,
Something.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which is it's not nothing even back
it's not
then,
nothing.
especially
And
back
even
then.
like you just for inflation, the first one had about $1 million in nowadays money too. People say it's shoestring, but it had a chunk
Mm,
of change.
yeah.
But anyways,
No, no, I mean you're totally correct, and that's
yeah,
something
no,
people
people say
should
it's
think about.
shoestring and they were like, oh, why am I not making Evil Dead? Some 19-year-old baby. Yeah, well, you had some resources.
Yeah.
And he was very resourceful as well. Like, they put the camera on the wood, whatever. But yeah, you know.
But yeah, no, I mean that same mentality I'm trying to stick to, and I'm always trying to find like I I don't want the camera to just not be decisive, you know, not
Yeah.
necessarily not sit in one place because that can be a decision that can be, important for the context of the story you're telling. But just, I'm always trying to think proactively. Like God help me if there's like, yeah, that shot didn't need to be in there, like
Yeah.
I get upset when I see that in a movie and I'm like, you didn't need to do that. Why'd you cut from that angle? That was a good one. Nah, that
Because
was
they all
less good.
shoot in coverage and they can't tell it apart, even when some of it's better than other
Yeah.
stuff. It's
There's even movies
unfortunate.
that we don't need to get down this path too much, but there's movies
I'll
I've
get down.
liked a
I'm a
lot
hater. I'll,
recently.
I'll get down.
Oh no, I recall. Yeah. I from the brief time we met in person at
Yeah,
Big
like right
Bad.
away, you were like, "Oh, you're so nice. You love movies." I was like, "No, I hate movies." I,
Yeah. I mean,
I do
no,
love
but
them.
you do love movies.
No,
Yeah, but
I hate
there's
them because I care.
yeah,
I
exactly. We want I think you really what's that the line from The Last Black Man in San Francisco? Like you can't hate it unless you
Hmm.
love it. Like
yes,
that's
Yes.
yes.
totally
Yep.
true.
That's yeah. That is true.
Yeah, everyone's got something where they're like, fuck that specific thing because even if we don't like vocalize it, we care because
I
we love.
know. And Twitter just radicalizes me more. I need to get off of it, but it's how I get
Hmm.
all my jobs. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't. I can't.
Yeah,
I'm
it feels
stuck.
like the
Same.
It's a
the the
nightmare.
last stand. Um
Yeah.
but all right, so speaking of like engaging in pure cinema, like when did you start like how old were you when you started making things?
See. I mean, so we had like video projects in elementary school and middle school, but it was never like I cared about them being good. I went to film camp in ninth grade. So that was the first time I like made stuff. And then junior year of high school, I was like making shorts on the regular with my friends in the high school. Um, and then I really wanted to make movies, but then I went to college for like engineering at first, and then I got depressed and I changed my major into film and great. So yeah. So high school was when I was like, I want to make them, but before then I was very into them. Um, yeah, I didn't think of it as a career right away.
Okay, so all right, like junior high, high school, like
Yeah.
Gene definitely got his start there as
I
well.
believe
Like
so. Yeah.
yeah, no, I mean,
Yeah.
you should be proud of it. Some of my favorite stuff you've done is still
Mm.
from that era. Not that
Oh,
like
thanks.
not the
Oh,
quality's gone down or anything like that. It's just like I have very fond memories of
that raw creativity and drive that only
Hmm.
a
yeah,
high
there's
schooler has.
yeah, there's
Hmm.
It's
something
a
to that
thing.
where
Something really pure.
Oh,
yeah,
before
we
you
would
know the rules too, and
yeah,
you're just like, I don't know. I
no,
yeah, no, I get it.
yeah, it felt more like dangerous. Now
Yeah.
we literally were all just like, Evil Dead wasn't a cheap movie back then either. Like, like you don't
Yeah.
have that conversation when you're 16, 17. So yeah, I don't know. I just find that really fascinating. And that unrestrained cinema, which feels difficult to produce now because it feels like, in a way, movies have never been more popular. In other ways, they've been less popular. But it's just something to think about, like
It's a
maybe we
time.
don't need to put shackles on these things, I
No,
guess.
we're in some sort of weird transitional period, and we just don't know what the transition's to. So it's exciting. Maybe
Yeah, yeah,
it's weird.
I've been saying I think something more exciting is going to come out of it. I just
Hmm.
I'm
Yeah, I
not,
think so.
it's not all bad. It's just very stressful. But all right, horror is your pure love, your true
Yeah.
love. Is that fair to
Yes.
say?
And that does extend to the entirety of cinema, but there's certainly an emphasis on horror.
And we brought up Evil Dead, obviously, so clearly a touchstone for everyone here. But do you have any like other big film inspirations, be they like movies or the filmmakers?
It shifts based like over time. Like Evil Dead 2 was the initial like filmy. Like I used to on my DVD, I'd go frame by frame in high school, like analyzing the editing. And this is I guess why I went into editing because I like care so much about that and think so much of what makes film good is in the editing. And there was such a musicality to it. So that was the first one. And then went through a John Carpenter thing and then a Dario Argento thing. And then I guess 4 years ago, I was like, oh, every filmmaker I really love, as I was starting to go into a George Romero thing, was like, oh, they all just love EC Comics.
Hmm.
So I'm in an EC Comics thing right now. And I think I'm finally like finding what exactly I like in it because of
Yeah.
that and what
Good.
everybody else got out of that. So I'm in my EC Comics thing. I think that's my biggest influence right now.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Do you like a lot of Creep Show?
I do like a lot of Creepshow. I love a lot of Creepshow, very, very much. Um, and and even that show on Shudder has gotten
Hmm.
better as it's gone on. I think a
Yeah, it
lot of people
has. Yeah.
stopped watching after first season, which is unfortunate.
Right.
But like the last season, I was like, there aren't really any misses in this season. And there
Yeah,
was,
it's
but the second season had an Evil Dead episode too, which was crazy.
yeah, that's
It was,
yeah, it had Tittery.
it was wild. I really
Yeah, it
Okay,
liked
was
so
that.
that.
clearly I need
Yeah,
to
that
watch
was
that.
yeah, it was a fun. Yeah, that was a fun episode, and the Christmas special they did. Yeah, it's been a good show. Yeah,
Yeah, I
it's
get
fun.
frustrated because they're like something cool is about to happen, and that's always when they cut to like some animatic because they
Oh,
couldn't do it, and that's
yeah.
that's the stuff that's the stuff you should be spending your money on.
Hmm.
Um, but it's cool, a little underrated kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not to get into that either, but I do think there's something to be said about how like you can still make stuff very flashy and exciting, but you're right. You're like people just have to know how to like spend that money properly.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
not a fan of conversations where it's like this is too expensive. It's like not if you know how to shoot it.
No, you're
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
lazy. Anybody who
Hmm.
says that, they just aren't creative.
Yeah. I mean, okay, like you can't blow up a building, you know what
Yes,
I
you
mean?
can.
But okay, okay,
You,
Yeah.
you know what? Yes, I guess you can. Yeah.
yes, you can. Trauma. I keep watching. Oh, what was it? The last I watched Poultrygeist a couple months ago again. That's my favorite trauma movie, even though it's probably their most offensive one. Um, and at the end, when they blow up the big restaurant, they are filming in front of the restaurant, and they have a miniature of the restaurant in front of the actual restaurant, so it's like where it would be. And they blew up the little box, and like you could tell that's what they did, but they did it. You know,
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up that movie because every time I bring up that movie, other people are like, "Okay," slowly walking backwards out of a room, like
I
whatever you
love that
say.
movie. It's a musical. I love musicals.
It's my
Uh,
favorite trauma as well,
it's yeah, it's good. It's
even though
like
it's like fucked up and
it's very
yeah.
fucked up. It's so offensive. Like I keep showing it to people, and it's always a different thing for different people, which is funny. Um, reveals their own biases. They can turn it back on them. It's like, why do you care so much about this but not that, huh? But yeah, it's
Yeah, that's very funny.
it
I would
is what
love
it
to
is.
I would love to throw that on at like a movie night, but not tell
Hmm.
anybody, and just see like their
Secret
response.
screening.
Yeah, and then
I showed a
everyone
big
just
group back in college, and it was very
incredible.
like I was defending myself the whole time.
Yeah, I was gonna say like, do you still talk to those people? Are you
Yeah,
still
no,
all
they all
friends?
came to Los Angeles after.
Okay,
Like it was the whole.
okay,
We're all still
great.
friends.
Oh, fantastic. Okay,
Yeah,
good. Yeah, trauma brings people together.
trauma does.
Don't quote me on that. But I think that's another thing people think about when making movies. There's not that it's lesser, it's just very different when you're showcasing a movie like that. It's meant to be like pure entertainment. There's
Yeah,
artistry involved, there's ideas involved still. But I think people look at that and go like, oh, well, that's like a little silly. And it's like, so what? Like,
yeah. And
don't you
some
want to
of
have
those
fun?
performances in some of those movies are like, though they're being very silly, they're very committed and very, I don't, there's some great performances in these silly movies. Which is tricky because there's a lot of bad performances in silly movies too. But Trauma has such a specific tone that usually are able to lock. I don't know.
Yeah, and hey, maybe they're gonna have like a trauma surgeons, trauma sans, because you got that Toxic Avenger coming up,
Yeah,
which
Finally
isn't
coming out.
directly a trauma release, right? This time it's just
yeah.
the brand name, but
We'll see how it is. We'll see
yeah,
if that movie shoots a dog and fucks
Yeah.
up a blind woman.
Yeah.
That's what I want. It's crazy because I cry when dogs die in movies, but like, I want it from a trauma movie. I'm like, please
Hmm.
offend me a little bit.
yeah, it's different vibes.
Yeah.
Um, so speaking of vibes, now the real topic we're here to discuss today, as well as your background, which I wasn't familiar with, but Liv and Sherry's Halloween Haunt.
Ah,
That's the feature film you shot on an iPhone,
on an iPhone,
correct?
that's right.
All
Hmm.
right.
Yeah.
Is it the one like you just use on a regular basis, or did you like buy
I
one?
upgraded for this movie, and now it's my
Hmm.
iPhone, like it's right here.
Oh,
But
nice.
it's yeah, it was that one, the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, that was weird. Or I haven't shot a movie or a thing on an iPhone in a good long while, so it was weird, but liberating. That was cool.
Hmm.
I
Do you have
could.
any different lenses for it for the shoot?
No, I didn't have. So this thing was made bare minimum on loans.
Hmm.
And so I got an ND filter because
Hmm.
you need that for an iPhone
Yeah.
because it automatically has such a high ISO or what I did. So that was a necessity, but lenses, it was mostly the standard main lens on it, and I went to the wide lens
Hmm.
every now and then because I like wide lenses.
Hmm.
And that was it. That was really it. It was crazy. Yeah.
No,
One
that
man crew for a lot of it. There were 5 days where I had
Wow.
somebody else who could do sound.
Hmm.
But on every other day, I was like, I had the boom and the iPhone and like was running around setting up lights while I was yelling at the actors what they had to do. It
Oh
was
man.
very
Yeah.
stressful. Yeah. Well, I don't have money. You have to pay
no,
people. It's awful. Damn unions. That's not a real opinion.
yeah,
I,
Yeah.
but yeah,
no, but I'm glad you said that because very funny, but also like yeah, true. It's like unions are amazing, but it's like for us, we're not in them. We're
yeah,
not allowed in them yet because we haven't made anything. This is how
yeah. It's tricky. It's
you
very
get you
tricky
try
with
to
them.
get in there, and if you're in a union, pay people properly, and if not,
Yes.
well, this is where you call in the favors.
Yes. As long
It,
as you're upfront, I think it's okay to not have a big budget. Just be like, just so you know, actors and everybody, there's not a lot of money. You have to do it because you need stuff for your reel. I hope you're okay with that. Just letting you know, here's everything you have to do for the movie, so there's no surprises. And as long
mhm.
as you're upfront, I think it's all okay. I think it's
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, and then of course like don't actually abuse anybody.
No,
Right. Yeah.
sure.
Yeah,
Right.
which I know is not a problem here, but I just want to make clear in case people conflate any of that or anything like
No.
that from the
Well,
clearly
and
five
honestly, on the
million.
actors, this was pretty not hard because they're all in school and they all had work. So the film days were usually just 3 or 4 hours. There weren't any, it was long for me because I had to set up and tear down everything by myself. But for them, they walked in, did their parts. Some of them I didn't meet until they were on that set because nobody had time for rehearsals. We'll see how this movie turns out. But the, um,
No,
um,
it looks super fun just from
thank
the
you.
quick video you've got going on. So
Hmm.
let's talk
It's a
about
good
this some
campaign
more.
trailer.
Yeah, yeah, really. So when I had asked you because you were coming on, or you were looking to come on to shows like promote this and everything, and then I sent that to Gene immediately, and I was like, oh, like gotta get Eric on, and then yeah, I mean it's a great trailer. Sometimes people's like campaign trailers are you could tell they're not exactly
Oh, I've
sure how to
noticed.
sell themselves, and you were very clear and descriptive, and like obviously you filmed the movie already, which I'm assuming helped as
By
well.
design because I'd done this before and it wasn't successful. And I think it was because I didn't have, you either need people that people know, like I don't have Barbara Crampton in this or whatever, to be like, hey, there's a new Barbara Crampton movie coming out, give some money. Or you need like all this footage to show. And so last time I did this, I wanted to do a big 16 millimeter film thing. I'm a film guy, I'm a snob. Um, and I did that, and I filmed an opening scene, which I do. It's a very good opening scene, and I showed it in the trailer. But even so, people were like, "I don't know if I should give money to this because how's the rest of the movie going to be?" And it's, well, how do movies get made? What? I don't understand. So this one, I took out a bunch of loans to make a movie, and was like, hopefully, I can pay them back with like Indiegogo. So we'll see how that works out.
All right. I do remember that last campaign. That's a very good scene, and I do hope you get to shoot
Thank
something on
you.
16 millimeter soon.
Me too. And I
I
was
am.
glad I did that still, even because I got practice for this one and I made a bunch of connections. I wouldn't have gotten to edit the Fangoria Chainsaw Awards last year if I hadn't made that and met the people I met and other stuff. So that was
Mhm.
it's okay to fail, kids. You don't know what it'll lead to. You just have to
Yeah,
try. You have to try
exactly.
really hard and it's okay.
I mean, that's great to hear, and congrats on that's an amazing job you did. I believe that was shared on Twitter as well. Something was shared on Twitter recently. I'm sorry, I didn't remember this one, but of your work, you had edited something that was really impressive to me.
Oh
Oh,
gosh.
the horror, the Scream Queens.
Oh
Um,
yes, no, that was different. That's the SAG Awards, which
yes.
is I'd been assistant editing with them a couple years, and that was through a Twitter friend, but we didn't meet because of that Kickstarter. He hit me up because we both went to the University of Miami, and he was like, "And you like horror?" And you edited on the Daytime Emmy Awards, which I got because submitted a Craigslist, like I replied to a Craigslist ad, and they didn't
Hmm.
ask for a resume or anything. It was crazy. I got to, that was wild. They were bad company. Not
Oh,
not the daytime Emmys, but the company that
Hmm.
I worked under. They were weird. They
oh,
also do
okay.
the Hollywood Christmas Parade. It was crazy.
Hmm.
Um,
Maybe.
I shouldn't be saying this. Well, I don't
Yeah.
care. I don't care. You can put
Okay.
it.
Well, I
I don't
mean,
care.
hey, I guess everyone keep an eye out for that.
I don't care.
You know, well, it looks like you got out of it okay, which is good to hear.
Yeah,
And
it was
yeah,
fun.
the SAG Scream Queens edit was
Yes,
really
I
amazing. So good
thank you
job
for
on
Yeah,
that.
that. I was very
yeah.
proud of it.
Yeah. I
It
mean,
wasn't
Gene.
everything I wanted in it, but I was proud of it.
Well, Gene's also a professional editor, so I feel like you guys maybe will be able to bounce back and forth at some point.
So
And
you get it. I love your shirt, by the
Hmm.
way, Gene. That
Oh,
was a
thank
very
you.
good shirt.
Word just for today.
Oh my goodness.
yeah. So the idea for Live and Sherry's Halloween Haunt, apart from this is what I would consider a shoestring budget. You don't have to talk about that if you don't
Hmm.
want to. But
I'll talk about it.
how did it come about? Like what drove you to this idea?
I wanted to do a movie that had everything in it, and then I could practice everything and see what worked and what didn't. And the initial script, because of that, was 140 pages long.
Oh
And I was gonna
no.
make it. I was ready. 2 weeks before filming, I cut two main characters and I got it down to 120 pages, which is still it gives me a little room to be like, this worked, this didn't work, and I can cut stuff out in post, which is nice. And even like the stuff I want to film with this Indiegogo has, there's more. There's more that I can't put in any trailers yet because it isn't filmed, but I'm very excited about it. So I basically wanted a thing where I could do as many low budget effects on my own as possible, and which is why a lot of the movie isn't like people interacting with effects so much as like people like look at something and there's an effect happening that I don't need other actors around while I like film on my own.
Hmm.
And it's very vibey and Halloweeny, and just so I could put as many influences and things in as possible. I also get a lot of things out of my system that like because I don't want to just copy other people, but I wear my influences on my sleeve and I know this. So if I get it all out in this movie, I can't do it again. Like I'm like oh, so much of this movie is Night of the Demons in the midnight hour
Mhm.
and other very specific. The Live and Sherry is named
Mhm.
after Sherry Belafonte from the Midnight Hour and
Mm.
LeVar Burton, but gender swapped to live.
Oh.
So it's very like the influences are crazy, and I wanted to put as many in as possible, and then see how I am when it was done. Is what kind of filmmaker that turns me into. Um, and so, and I like Halloween, and people watch anything set on Halloween. So I was like that. And I knew I could use my parents' house and my aunt's house back in Tennessee. So you can have people walk through a house, and that is production. It's the house in the poster is my aunt's house. Look at that. Yeah,
Hey,
look at that. It's
yeah,
nice.
congrats
Thank God.
to Auntie Lawrence.
Yes. Aunt Nancy.
Aunt Nancy, apologies. Oh,
Yes. Yes.
Nancy. Oh,
Yeah.
a little Scream
Oh.
Queen connection there.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, that's why they named her that, right?
That's why they named her
Yeah.
that. My grandma did really like Hellraiser. That's like one of the one things I remember about her pretty well. I was like, I can't believe my grandma likes Hellraiser. It
That is crazy to hear that someone's
yeah,
grandparent likes Hellraiser. Yes.
was very
That's
cool.
that's wild. Yeah. Gene, does your grandma like horror? Did your grandparents like horror movies?
No, I don't think so. No.
Yeah, mine neither. They were too religious.
No, my Canadian grandparents did not and were very religious, and that would have never. Well, before my grandma on my dad's side died, she was like, "Don't move to Los Angeles. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it." And then she died. It was crazy.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It was fine. It was.
What a
So she didn't
story.
die saying that, but yeah, it was,
I hope
it was
not.
like crazy. Yeah.
All right, so this is like a shotgun blast of all your Halloween interests, and
Yeah.
you end the trailer for your Indiegogo campaign with saying like Halloween's year round. It's always Halloween, so that's my Halloween 3 background. If
Yes, it looks
the
so
listeners
great.
are watching this on the YouTube version, and yeah, I think it's a really fun premise. Um, there was Gene knows this. There was something I'm working on that's like tangentially similar. So I'm like, maybe I
Mhm.
shouldn't if Eric's gonna nail it
No, do
already.
it.
But we'll see. We'll
Because who
see.
cares? Like I'll watch Volcano and Dante's Peak back to back, you know?
All right. Oh,
That's
there you go. Maybe we'll double feature them
a
someday.
double feature. Who cares?
All right. All right.
What is it?
Um,
Is yours Aliens? Is that why? Or is it Halloween? Which one is it? Is it Aliens on Halloween? You stole my thing. But you took it. But what is it? The Kids versus Aliens is Aliens on Halloween as well, though.
Mhm.
It's just a
that's
thing.
true.
Yeah.
So nobody.
Yeah.
Who cares?
I
Yeah.
mean,
And
maybe.
aliens are Halloweeny in my head too, so it was just a part of that.
Yeah. Right. Like,
People say
unless
they
it's
aren't, but
like,
they are.
yeah, no, like even E.T. Like straight up, they
Yeah,
go
that's
trick or
like a
treating.
quintessential Halloween scene.
Yeah, and we
I,
like him,
I
even
do like
though
it.
he's disgusting to look at.
I love
Uh,
E.T.
oh
That's
yeah,
my
no, who
home.
doesn't
I
love E.T.?
love him so much. When people are like, I was afraid of E.T. growing up, I'm like, you're a pussy. I
No,
hate
I
you.
never felt
Mhm.
that either. Yeah, and again, I was the kid that was like scared of every horror
Yeah,
movie, and
he's
I was
cute.
yeah,
He's
E.T.
just
is my
yeah,
friend. E.T.
my
is
friend
all of
too.
our friends. That's the point of the movie.
Have you ever done the E.T. ride at Universal Studios in Florida?
No, I've never been to Florida.
Crazy. Oh my gosh, you don't need to go to Florida, but you should go to Universal Studios in
Yeah.
Florida. You should like just go right off the
Let's go.
plane to there because it is better than the Universal Studios here.
Oh,
Studio tour
whoa,
aside, we have the studio
whoa,
tour.
whoa, whoa. Okay, like let's. Gene and I are L.A. born and raised. We're bred,
Mhm.
so
And you
let's take
defend
it
it.
easy
It's
on.
just I've been the both a lot, and
Okay.
I just know that one's better a
All
little
right.
bit
I'm not even saying I don't believe you. I
as a
just have
theme
to,
park. No, you defend it. You
confirm.
defend it. You
Yeah.
get mad. Get
Yeah.
mad.
I'm not upset.
Get
I'm upset
mad.
about other stuff. Not anything here today, thankfully.
Oh my God.
Otherwise you wouldn't be on the show. But I think we get along. I think we're all hanging out. Um, all right. So let's see. What else could we talk about like with the campaign, your your production process. So you mentioned that you still want to shoot some more stuff through the campaign.
Yes. Yeah. No,
Uh,
I'd say it's the movie is 95% shot.
okay.
So I have to the last few shots of the movie need to be done and some backgrounds for a scene or otherwise
Mhm.
a scene right now is just a girl in front of like a black tarp. Doesn't work. got to replace that with the actual background. And oh, and like I have to build a little alien.
Oh,
See,
okay, fun.
see all
Hey,
this, you know.
Gene's got some recent Alien experience as well.
Hmm.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow,
maybe
wow.
Aliens and Halloween is just gonna be a thing. Although yours isn't Halloween, right, Gene? Is it? Did I just spoil that? Is it not Halloween?
No, it's not Halloween.
Okay, there we go. Look at that. We're already spreading our wings.
It should you should change it to Halloween just
Yeah.
to,
Yeah, I could. Yeah.
It's already shot, and there's just like
wow.
some
Some
like attack.
ADR.
Mm.
Like
Yeah.
I can't
Hmm.
believe this is happening on Halloween.
Or Attack of the Clones level CG, like just plopping the pumpkins like in
Oh,
the
I love
background of
it. That's
shots.
kind of a vibe though. Like part of
Yeah.
me is like, do I put a bunch of like cut and paste pumpkins in my movie just to make it Halloween year? I carved so many freaking pumpkins for this thing. It's so annoying.
Oh, here,
But they
let me ask about
rot
that.
because they
Yeah.
rot and you have to do them again. It's a
Ugh.
nightmare.
Yeah. Okay. So your days for apart from you were like 3 to 4 hours, you said.
Yeah.
How many days like total was it did it take to shoot a 120-page script? Which
Lit-
you mentioned trimmed down, right?
Yeah, trim down. Well, the full 120 pages is shot. 140 pages did not get shot. It's too ambitious, but probably a better movie. It was more character focused, and then I was like, I'm gonna cut out the character stuff and keep the Halloween vibes, which we'll see how that pays off.
Hmm.
And so let's see. I got to Tennessee. I stayed with my parents while I was there, which is hard. Uh, it's too much, but it's fine. It's okay. So I got to Tennessee September. So a week and a half later, we just desperately started looking for cast. That was done in maybe a week and a half. Like I put out a backstage ad, only people from not Chattanooga, Tennessee, where we were
Hmm.
filming were replying, and I couldn't find anybody else. Crazy.
Yeah.
But we got a bunch of people from the theater center because my friend Annie Collins, who's in the movie, she works there and has all these connections. So she brought in a lot of people, and we had one. Sherry is from Atlanta, and she would drive up. But we only used we like we got her stuff done in 3 days that we just packed with her stuff, which was nice. And so casting was a week and a half, and then over. Main shooting was like 3 weeks of like yeah, it was 3 5-day weeks. Each of those was ranged from 3 hour to 6 hour days. And then there were just lots of after that me doing random pickups with like, hey, I need you in a graveyard for one shot real quick. And other stuff like that. When are you open? Thursday. What are you know?
Hmm.
So it was very like it wasn't like 3 weeks done. It was like lots of loosey goosey running around and getting whatever I could when I could.
Yeah.
All right. And then obviously again to reiterate, you're a big Halloween guy. So I
Yeah.
remember you left LA like before, and I was like, oh, this must be serious, because LA Halloween is like,
I know. Oh,
it's
I
not as
missed it as
vibey, I'm sure, as like the
much.
Hmm.
Midwest, but
Yeah.
there's so
Yeah,
much
well,
to
my
do here.
Halloween ironically kind of sucked this year. It was
Oh,
like I mean, I was stressed with making a movie, but like I didn't even get my parents' living room to watch movies. I
Mm.
was just working. They were watching The Tudors with their friends or whatever. It was my Halloween. It pissed me
No.
off. Just so mad.
Yeah.
But the whatever, whatever. Yeah, no, I missed out on Los Angeles Halloween. It was really sad. I went to Halloween Horror Nights before I left. Thank
Mm.
God.
hey,
Thank Jesus. But yeah, no haunted hayride. No, it's awful.
How was
okay.
it? Can you talk
Here.
a bit about the location that you filmed in Chattanooga?
Yes, Chad. Oh, you made a face at Chattanooga too. You're not familiar
Oh
with
no, I know they
oh,
have a film festival
oh,
there.
they do. Oh, they
Yeah,
do. It's
that's the
gotten
only
a
thing
little
I know about
popular
it.
too.
Yeah.
My first movie didn't get into that, and I was like, that's crazy. But I get it though, because my first movie wasn't great. I made it in college, also with very little, and it was between classes, valid. Although a bunch of characters from that movie are in this one, for a movie that I look back on and I'm like, ugh, that thing. I don't know. It brought people back. Like the girl hanging right there. That's the lead from The Last Thanksgiving, my first movie. She's in this.
Hey,
Look at her. She's gonna get something.
yeah, congrats.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't believe it. But I'm definitely not going to advertise this as a sequel or anything like that because it's
Mhm.
very much a different thing. I don't want people to think they have to watch that because they don't. They really don't. They really, it's on Tubi if they want to, but they don't.
Mhm.
To be the people streamer.
It is the people's
It is,
streamer, owned by Fox, but
We're taking the wins
everything's
where we can
owned
get them.
by somebody. So whatever. I'll watch Tubi.
All right, let's see. Anything else you want to like talk about with the production process of your film or
Oh
anything?
God, I mean, there's so much I can say. I don't know. It's just because I mean, like, I love that film is a collaborative effort, and I want to
Mhm.
lift that up. It's just so much of this was just me,
Yeah.
and there's so
Certain circumstances,
like
yeah.
and the actors were great, and but they like lead characters would just I come in and do their part, and I don't know the people. Like it was bizarre, and like so I can't even really talk to like working with actors that much too because I was worried about so much other stuff. Um, but I don't know. Like I feel like there's a lot to say. I just don't know what to say.
Okay. I mean, hey,
Mhm.
that's totally fine. You overwork your brain to the point
I
where it's like,
did.
yeah, it's like what the movie will speak for itself once
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
refunded.
I think
And
in being having a big editing background is going to help a lot with this because I'm going to be able to fix a lot. Like there were so many things on set where I was like, this is gonna we got to get this shot. I'll fix it in post. And it was
Yeah.
nice being
Coverage.
able to know exactly what I could fix in post ahead of time, uh, because I know it's me doing it and not some person I'm paying money to spend time with this. Because the movie's not edited at all yet. It was like I did the special effects shots that I knew I could put in the trailer so people would be like, "Oh, there's gonna be some effects in this. Look at that pumpkin head and the other stuff."
Mhm.
Um so like for as being all over the place as it is, there's a lot of intentionality in the order I've been doing things. Because that part is overwhelming when you know you have like a million things to do. It's very easy to be like, oh, I just can't do any of them now. I'm too stressed about having all that.
yeah, I got a couple. I didn't put them on the list, so nix any of them you don't want to answer. But one, did you ever stress nap?
Did I ever
Like,
stress nap?
yeah, like when you're overwhelmed, you're like, you know what? Everyone shut the fuck up. Like not on
Mhm.
set, just like to yourself, and then you just kind of like lay down. You're like, all right, just gotta clear my head.
No, I didn't even on the last Thanksgiving in college. I cried a bunch, and on this one,
Mhm.
I think only like there was like one exhaustion tear up, and that was it. It was actually pretty like I was more. This was yeah, it worked out. I think what helped a lot, my Aunt Nancy, she went away for a week, and so I was like, oh, I'm gonna live in this house, and I'm gonna film all the haunted house stuff in that week. And so I was spending my nights there, and I could just prep all the time. And I think that helped a lot. Like I was actually pretty fine. And whenever something was kind of rough, whether it be like a performance that I couldn't get just right or just anything. There, for what, however way stuff managed to still come together, I was like, I know how to fix this. I know how to change lines. I don't know. It was
Mhm.
very stressful, but I didn't nap or cry on this one, which I'm kind of proud of myself.
Yeah,
I'm
Yeah, that's good.
congratulations.
It's good to have a
Yeah.
good cry though.
I could I mean we'll see how the Indiegogo goes. If I'll cry.
I'm sure it's gonna go great. If anything,
Yeah.
you clearly have made even more connections, and
That
people
is getting
again,
me
people
through.
seem to
What's
like you.
fucking me up is that like, cause Twitter is falling apart, and that's where I knew the most people, and they're all moving to Blue Sky, and it's so hard to
Hmm.
get noticed on Blue Sky.
Yes.
Posts do not. There's
Yes.
no algorithm.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
a nightmare.
Yeah.
It's a nightmare. So I don't know. Like I have more followers than I've ever had, but like I don't get any interactions on anything anymore. So we'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see where connections that I now have get me. Um, and even still, like I get nervous on the Indiegogo because like none of those connections are like I don't have like somebody making trading cards for a perk or like all these things. I'm just hoping I can edit my way through it and make a bunch of like trailers or something to keep people interested.
Hmm.
I don't know. We'll see what happens.
No, I think you should remain optimistic, you know.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And then just a couple literally quick questions. And then Gene, if you got anything else to add, feel free to
Yeah,
wrap us up
yeah.
after. Um, did you how did you shoot with the phone? Did you have a gimbal? Did you just like keep the phone relatively still because you
I
know
had a
the camera shake?
tripod for
Okay.
most of it. I wish there was more camera movement in the movie. But there are parts. There's one mini chase scene where I was like, one shot handheld, fine. And so that happens at one point, and that is with I had it's not a gimbal, it's a different one.
Hmm.
It's a
Uh,
different one.
yes, I know what the handheld
Yeah, I
one
had that
thing. Yeah.
for when I wanted to go handheld, which wasn't super duper often. And so I was glad I was getting into EC Comics and doubly looking back on Creepshow because very static Creepshow is. And panels in comic books also don't have a lot of movement. And so being able to be like, all right, we'll just fall back on vibes and lots of full moons. And that's actually something I'm very excited about, a random little thing. I'm doing all these like fake skies. Like I'm filming like there's like a little bit of that in the Indiegogo video where it
The
shows like a
big
moon.
moon.
But yeah, like I bought one of those like light up moons and I like
Hmm.
fogged up a room and I have like little trees in front of it and there's going to be a bunch of that throughout because I'm trying to really like you'd get like a lot of big fake moons in 90s like Goosebumps or whatever, but it
Hmm.
always looked fake and I wanted to do that but make it look kind of tangible, but you're still like the moon's not that big so it's fake, but I did like there's going to be some weird comic booky visuals in it
Hmm.
and some flat out like cartoon trait like pumpkin going across the screen. I do that in the Indiegogo video, but that's happening in the movie too. Like it's it's gonna be a silly it's a movie that doesn't take itself very seriously, but I'm taking it very seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Which is what you got to do, frankly, you
Yes.
know. I think like it was John Cena who was talking about like one of the comedies he did. I can't remember which one, but like you know they were asked like, "Oh, you guys ever cracking up on set?" And he's like, "No, it's you know it's a pretty serious job trying to tell jokes." And it's like you know that might be true a little
Yeah.
bit, you know. But yeah. Let's see what else. Okay. Your thoughts on film emulation apps for phones? Because you're a purist of film, but would you ever dabble with that? I mean, I'm
I
sure you
would
don't want to shoot
dabble.
everything on an iPhone, but
I I would dabble. I don't know if I wouldn't do it in an app on a phone. I would definitely want more control over it. If there's a dog.
nah, it's
You hear
fine.
that? You
They're
Yeah.
hearing
just they're
that? That
just
was
excited for
Yeah.
the
crazy.
movie.
They were like, "Oh my God, film emulation." But yeah, I wouldn't do it in an app. I would do it in post, so I have some control over it. And I've been thinking about doing it on this, like for an idea that I'm figuring out right now. I don't. I think maybe like when they're outside the haunted house, it's like no film emulation or whatever. But maybe when
Hmm.
things get in, it gets more
Oh,
classic-y and more filmy. I've been playing with that. I don't know if I'm gonna actually do it. But I buy with it. Like I loved the holdovers. And that movie was fake film as hell. And I loved
Yeah.
how it looked. It
Yeah.
looked better than some modern movies that have been shot on film.
mhm.
So I I I lean film purist, but a lot of that I have come to terms with as an aesthetic preference. And even still like the holdovers and I think like watching a film print of something shot on film with very good lighting, like it almost looks 3D. Like people are like, "Oh, it's grainier, it's flatter," but like I think it looks more tangible. Like skin looks more real. And I don't know. It's different. I'd fuck with it though. I'll fuck with film emulation. It's fine. But I would rather shoot on film. I love 16 millimeter. If I can ever get a big budget one day, it'll be 35 millimeter. I have two other Halloweeny scripts. If this one does well and someone wants me to make a bigger budget of it, come on. But let me shoot it on film, please. Well, no, I
Yeah.
mean it'll be within the budget. It's fine. But I'm fine with it. Whatever. Emulate film, but do a good job because sometimes people do it and you can see like where the loop happens or for I don't like when people do a grindhouse thing. I love when people emulate grindhouse like
Mhm.
whatever. Um, but like the dust and scratches will be more than like a frame, and you're doing it wrong.
Hmm.
doing it wrong. Like it shouldn't be at a different frame rate than the footage. It doesn't make sense and it looks bad. So I'm very pro it. But I did put Planet Terror wasn't shot on film. Beautiful movie. It with lots of film emulation. It was shot on HD video. Like, and I love it. It
Yeah.
looks great. It looks so good. So,
Yeah, we're big Grindhouse fans as well.
as
The
you
genre
said,
and the movie.
Yeah, yeah.
Death Proof is Quentin Tarantino's best movie. I'll tell you what.
I'm I
I
was unfortunately one of those bros that was like, yeah, it's probably his worst, but it's still good. Now I'm like, that's a good fucking movie.
It's really
It's a
good. And it
fucking
was hard
movie.
not to fall because even he is like, oh, he shot it left-handed. It's my worst movie. It's
Yeah.
idiot. Stupid. It's your best movie. It's so good. It's so good. Yeah. I'm probably gonna do because I've decided I am gonna do a bunch of not fake trailers because it's a real movie, but I'm gonna do a bunch of homage trailers over the next few weeks for this. I think I'm gonna do one that's the Edgar Wright's Don't.
Oh, nice.
But do it. Like if you're thinking of funding this movie, do it. Do
Oh, that's
it, do it,
good.
do it, do it, do it, do it, do it.
Yeah,
Just start
please,
crying.
please do that. We'll make sure to share
Mhm.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna it could do, but like doing an alien one is so easy. That's just letters.
Yeah.
I can do letters. This is so I've been thinking of doing a bunch, and maybe that'll get a bloody disgusting article or something out of it.
Mhm.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
should.
yeah. Gotta aim
Whatever
for
I
it.
can do. Yeah.
Then literally the last question, then I'll hand it off to Eugene.
Yeah, yeah.
Anamorphic mobile lenses. I'm only asking these questions because you just did a phone shoot. So thoughts.
In support of, but actively didn't use on this. I was very like on shooting on an iPhone. I was like, most people are definitely going to be seeing this in a living room, and when they're in this haunted house, I want them to see as much of it as possible. So this will be like a 185 to 1 movie, though anamorphic lenses on a iPhone, it looks good. It looks good. It looks more filmic, and people want their iPhone movies to look like film. I get it. And I fuck with I like Christmas Bloody Christmas
Hmm.
and other movies that are anamorphic now. Do it, people. That one's on actual film, but I get it. Do it. Do it. What's Tangerine? They
Tangerine,
do the
yeah.
Yeah,
anamorphic
it's
on it.
iPhone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks great. I love Tangerine. That's his
Yeah.
best movie. Uh,
That or Red Rocket, I've decided. And
or
hey, both
you're
shot
right.
anamorphic.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Hmm.
I did like Honora. I was happy for Honora.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, me
Same.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. People are weird about
But
that one.
they were weird about it.
Yeah.
Because they didn't see Red Rocket.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they
Yeah.
would have
Or
been fucking
Tangerine. That was
strange.
one post on Twitter where they were like, "When is someone gonna make a sex worker movie about such as?" He was like, he did that.
Yeah.
He already did. You stupid idiots.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair,
Film
a lot of these
illiterate.
people are like now they're like 17,
They
18
shouldn't
year
have
olds.
opinions.
I mean,
Or
I
if they
think they
have
shouldn't
them,
be on the
they
internet yet.
shouldn't be on the internet. They shouldn't be on social media. But
Hmm.
also, very easy to be like, is there a movie where blah blah blah? Not why isn't there?
Yeah.
Even though I haven't done the work to look up if there is or not. I'm just gonna come in shooting. You come in shooting, you're gonna get shot.
Yeah, I think people should
Pew
remain
pew.
curious
Yeah.
and less angry, I guess.
Yeah.
Like if you're open and curious and you're genuinely asking a question, that's how these great conversations happen. That's probably how
Yeah,
we came across each other on Twitter at some point.
probably.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
we
And some of
were,
it's on
yeah,
like film nerds can be animus, less like so always make an effort to be, oh, you haven't seen that. You should. It's very good. Instead of you haven't seen it.
yeah,
Where have
that's
you
the
been?
worst.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bikini Bottom, you child brain, dum dum. Go back to watching whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, what are the kids watching these days?
Nothing. There's YouTube.
Oh yeah, they're
The
go back
nightmare.
to Mr.
I
Beast.
I still camp counsel every summer, and like the kids are not okay.
Oh
There
no,
was they were
don't say that.
getting they were getting better, and then the pandemic just they're messed up. They're all messed up. They're broken, or the boys are broken mostly. Some of the girls are fine, but
I
the boys are
believe
not
that.
okay. It's
I
very
do.
scary.
I
And this
do
is in
believe.
Tennessee, so it's the Tennessee boys. But the
Okay.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And
a
they don't know who
conversation
Quentin
for another
Tarantino
time.
was. Last year I brought him up, and none of them knew who he was.
Mm.
Crazy. 4 years ago they knew who he was.
Damn.
Nightmare.
Listen, we can turn this around with movies like Liv and Sherry's Halloween Haunt.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that'll do
Yes.
it.
Yes.
This is the one. This is what Seth Rogen just did in his interview, where it was like it just takes one film to turn everything around. And it's
Yep.
this one.
There you
That
go. Yeah. Well, if the starring creator of the studio says it, then it's got to be true.
yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know if he was talking about this one. He was talking about Barbenheimer actually. So it's that was kind of the opposite of
Hmm.
this. They had very big budget.
Yeah, they had a little more money than we do
They
collectively.
did. Both good though. Good for
Yeah, yeah.
you.
That
Yeah.
was a
Neither
good
of
movie
those
year for me.
filmmakers' best movies, but very good.
Yeah, I would
Yes.
agree.
Yeah.
Gene, final thoughts, questions.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about the influence of like Goosebumps because it just feels
It's
really
a lot.
inspired.
There's
Yeah,
a lot of that.
it's
It's
very curious.
there's a lot of that to the point where like there are children characters in this movie because I was like, I want to feel like Goosebumps. So to where the tone is kind of and then I embraced this eventually. I was very confused on what the tone should be for a while because there are a lot of kids and young people in this, but they're like, fuck you, bitch. And then
Hmm.
someone gets decapitated and they're like, gee whiz, what a spooky skeleton.
Yeah.
And then I embraced that because one of my favorite movies is Jacko. And I like in
Hmm.
the 90s there were so like Ticks is like feels like a kids movie, but then people get killed. And there's a lot of those, and I love those movies and they don't make them anymore. So this could be that. And we'll see how it goes over. But Goosebumps is a huge influence on me. I love from just how the covers look to like so much. I Attack of the Jack-o'-lanterns. There's a jack-o'-lantern guy, and for a second,
Hmm.
there's I have a whole script. It's not this one, but I have a whole script, and the basis for that was updating the Cry of the Cat.
That's a fun one.
That's not
Yeah.
even, people don't even talk about that one, but I love it. It's one of the best ones. And Goosebumps has been a big influence. Especially growing up, I was way more into Goosebumps than Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah. Same. Yeah.
And I like Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Hmm. It's
Um,
fun.
there's just less monsters. So many stories where, oh gosh, she didn't know she was a ghost. Or I watched one the other day because I've been watching in editing that to get me in the mood to keep working on this. Like I'll watch like a kids horror thing and be like, all right, you're making a kids horror movie, whatever. Um, I watched one and she was just like, oh, my aunt who used to ride horses is taking over my friend a little bit, but then her friend just likes horses more, and that's the stakes. This is awful. It's terrible. And then everybody likes the swimming pool episode, so they say it's better, but whatever. It's not. Goosebumps is better. So, anyways, it was an influence. It
Yeah.
influences everything I do, probably how I breathe. I love it so much. Ron Oliver, who directed a lot of Goosebumps and Are You Afraid of Dark, deserves some flowers he does not have for being an influence on a lot of younger people.
Mm.
People love freaking the Prom Night sequel so much. He wrote two and three and directed three. People just don't talk about him. The Prom Night 2 just magically happened on its own, and you're going to talk about how underrated it is all the time? No, guys made it. They did a good job. So I care.
Yeah, thank you for being the first podcast guest to have brought up Prom Night 2, Hello, Mary Lou,
That's very
because
good.
that's one of the first like horror movies I just found on myself, and I was
It
like,
feels
oh
good,
shit,
doesn't it? Yeah.
so awesome and invigorating. I was like, oh, you could just like do that,
Yeah.
like what? This is not the first one at all. You could just do that, and then, yeah, it's not like my favorite, but it is
It's
like
very good. I'm
a
excited. All those
favorite.
sequels are coming to 4K next year, and I can't wait.
Mm.
I know,
I'm
I know.
so
That's
excited. I never thought Prom Night 3, people don't know Prom Night 3 is cool because the unrated cut is cool and it's hard to watch that version.
I've
But it's
never seen
cool.
that
And it's gonna be
version.
it's good. It's good because it's gory and there's boobs and it's great. Um, but people don't know.
Yeah.
People don't know. Prom Night 4 is boring, but
No,
for
I've
sure.
seen one,
Take your word
two,
for
and
it.
then I guess the rated version of three.
Hmm.
yeah. I'm more
But
excited. 976 Evil 2 is coming out at the same time. I'm very excited. I know this has nothing to do with anything, but this is important
mm,
because everybody who watches 976 Evil 2 loves it. It's just people haven't watched it. It's so good. It has one of the best scenes in any movie ever. Um, Better than anything in any Christopher Nolan movie, any whoever. 976 Evil 2 has a scene that's better. So,
yeah, take that, The Godfather Part 2.
what's better? I'd rather watch 976 Evil 2 right now than Godfather Part 2. Though I will get Godfather is very good.
Yeah,
I
yeah, no,
promise I love all film. Godfather I love. I remember Forever 2 being like it's probably boring. Everybody and then watching it and being like, oh, it was very good, wasn't it? Same thing with Citizen Kane. That one was in high school though. I was like, oh wait, that was
yeah, like,
pretty good, wasn't it?
yeah,
Damn.
like, yeah. I guess that's a good note to end on. Like, go
Yeah.
watch old movies, go watch new movies, be inspired.
But watch
Uh,
more old movies and appreciate how they look and get mad about how movies now don't look like that.
that okay, yes, yes, absolutely.
Mhm.
Let's work to make movies look uniformly better.
Yeah.
You know,
Oof.
there's good stuff out there. It's just it's less than it used to be good looking. You know, I like plenty of movies that don't look great. Some
Yeah.
of my favorite movies from this year alone, I'm like, yeah, but that could have
Yeah.
looked a little
I
better. You know,
loved Wicked except for how it looked, which just made me very frustrated
Mhm.
with
yeah,
how it looked. Really
yeah,
pissed me off. But
Mhm.
you
yeah. It's like,
know,
yeah, I like that one
whatever.
too. And I was one of the haters who was like, this looks like
And it
bad.
does, and you're right to say so. Somebody
Yeah,
should, without people being like, not every movie, blah, 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 blah. Because that's why movies look worse.
yeah.
You complacent monsters.
Yeah, man. Stop shooting
Anyways,
your movies wide open during the day. You have all that light, use it. But whatever. We don't need to do
I
that.
don't
Eric,
know.
thank you
We
so
should do
much
it.
for coming on. This was great talking to you. We have good
No.
vibes here. We have good
Yeah.
vibes here. We hope you had good vibes as
I
well.
I love this. This is very fun. We could maybe definitely cut some of the defending the watching whatever you want. Leave some of it in there, but you
Sure.
know
Yeah.
what can
Yeah.
be shaved out.
Yeah, yeah.
Um
I'll give it a
for the
little
sake
pass.
of us all being okay in the future.
Yes. Yeah. I mean we did say don't defend
We
perverts.
didn't say a single thing wrong. And I'll stand by everything I said. I just don't need everybody to know.
Yeah,
So,
I'm with you on that. I
yeah.
agree 100%. But this was great.
This was
Uh,
great. This was so much
the
fun.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. Where can the people find you? And I believe the campaign will be live when this goes up tomorrow morning
Yes,
or
it will.
today. Yeah.
If this is coming out on Monday, then
Yes.
yes. Um, yes, so you follow that Indiegogo, Live in Sherry's Halloween Haunt. There aren't other movies called that. Very intentional, so you can remember it and look it up easily. Sherry is spelled Shari though, just so you know. But I'm Eric Lawrence, Lorinc, which is not, yeah, good work earlier getting that right. I'm always on Twitter. I'm going down with the ship. It could get bought by someone worse than Elon Musk, and I'll still probably be on it
Yeah.
because I can't not. But I'm on Blue Sky and I'm using that more. And the Instagram, send me a Facebook message, but I might get creeped out. But it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, whatever. But there, you could like the Live and Sherry has a Facebook page. You can like that page, message it, be like, "Hi, Live and Sherry," and I'll respond as that, and that isn't creepy. You do it, and um, those are the places I'm at. Hit me up any old time with questions or money. You can do that.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you so much for doing this. Links down
Yes.
to all that will be below
Ooh.
in the descriptions of all versions of this episode. Gene, any final plugs from you?
No, no. Just follow me on Instagram, Blue Sky. Yeah.
But when
Gene
Gene's
too.
movie comes out, watch it.
Oh yeah, eventually, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
still
Yes.
working on it, but yeah.
Abductees, baby.
This
Just
episode will still exist when it comes out, and
Hmm.
you should watch it.
Yeah.
yes.
Is it called Abductees? Is that it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what
Watch
it's called.
Abductees,
Hmm.
please.
Yeah. Support truly independent cinema.
I know that's right.
Yeah, and then eventually, when I do my tangentially related genre film, Eric and I will double
Yes,
feature.
we'll
We'll
double
we'll triple
feature
feature
it,
it with
triple feature
abductees.
it.
Yeah, we're getting all the alien business up in
We'll
here.
do a road show. We'll put millions into the
Yeah, we will definitely
publicity.
have that kind of money by then. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the American dream.
The American
Yeah,
dream.
pro alien podcast. Read that however you want. It's
I know
true.
that's right.
Yeah, thank you so much for everyone who listened to this episode. Like and subscribe. Eric, thanks again for coming on. We'll have to hang out in person again before Big Bad, and then I'm assuming Big
Yep.
Bad 3 as well.
Yes. When is that? Is that
August.
Mhm.
August?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be around.
All right. Yeah. So thanks everyone. We have been professionally unprofessional.
Mhm.